Do you think this is the natural next step, that we would see Sherlock Holmes in a way? We've seen him in so many guises. Now we see him in the vulnerability of old age, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and in retirement, that's something. It's sort of it's a story that hasn't been told yet. Again, within the conceit of this movie, which is that he's not fictional, that he's real, and that he's some of what's known about him is right and some of it isn't, But no, it's a fascinating period to examine because, it's known that he retired to Sussex and to his bees, and that's something we explore. But the idea that he's at the point where he doesn't have the same mental powers, that they're in and out. So the frustration that a character like Holmes, especially, an impatient character would feel at the loss of that acuity, I think is a really, really interesting thing that we get to play with in this movie.
I guess, yes, because you see him, we're used to seeing him with acute mental powers.
Yes.
But this is about the mystery of being Sherlock Holmes, would you say?
That's right. I would say that is the case, the last case that he's solving. It's, he's trying to remember why he retired. What was the final case that sent him fleeing, away from his life and away from solving cases, And he's piecing it together, and he realizes that, I don't want to give too much away, but something essential happened in that case that made him question the way he'd spent his entire life.
It's a very small cast, and it reunites old friends,
yes,
Ian
yes.
And Laura.
That's right.
Can you describe the experiences, and was it like reuniting a family in a way?
Oh, it was. It was really wonderful. It was a movie we made all in London, except for the 2 weeks that we spent in Rye, and that was the most wonderful time because, Ian and Laura have known each other for years, and I've been close to both of them. Milo's a new member of the family, but we'd have outings to Brighton on the weekend, but in general, because we made it actually a lot sort of east, a lot close to where Ian lives, it really felt like a home movie in some way, it was, I have to say, the most pleasant set I've ever been on.
Oh, it's looked beautiful as well.
Oh, I know. We were the luckiest people. Everybody, I had worked here before, but I hadn't shot an entire movie in London. Everybody warned me that there's no way we can get through this schedule because it's going to rain all the time, and it never happened. We had the most beautiful summer.
I guess Benedict Cumberbatch, as we call him, Benedict Mr. Cumberbatch,
yes.
And Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
As they know, their millions of fans have really popularised this
yes.
role. Did Ian ever have any qualms about taking on this iconic character?
I don't think so. I think it was because this is so very different from what they're up to, And I do think it was interesting. It took us a few years to get it going, and there was a feeling maybe a few years ago that there were too many Sherlock Holmeses. So it's nice to have a little. There hasn't been a new idea of Holmes actually introduced in several years now. And I think again because this plays him both in old age and as a real, not fictional character, I think Ian felt it was different enough not to be intimidated by any of that.
You didn't think about Benedict in prosthetics.
Well, I have to say, there's a scene where where this Holmes goes to the movies and sees himself portrayed in a Basil Rathbone-like way, and of course I was tempted to call up Benedict and say, would you do this for a day? But it felt a little too inside. We got a wonderful actor, Nicholas Rowe, who played Sherlock Holmes in Young Sherlock Holmes, over 20 years ago to play him, and he did it so beautifully. He sort of just exactly captured the kind of the style of those 40s Universal movies.
I love that homage,
right?
By the way.
Yeah.
I really love that. What does it mean to you as well to be able to bring to life such an icon?
Well, it's interesting because I loved him as a child, and I'd read all the stories as a child, and I've never missed one of the movies, So I have to say I'm not a Holmes fanatic, which I learned making the film because I was surrounded by them, and suddenly it was like, oh God, I didn't know all those things, But I think just for me, it was actually more this take that made it, the fact of him at this vulnerable moment, and also having made one film with Ian McKellen where he played James Will at the end of his life. To reunite with him almost 20 years later, when we're both maybe a little closer to that point, not for a long time we hope, but you know, it was interesting to be able to explore the same themes from a different point of view.
And what do you hope that audiences are going to get out of this film?
Well, I hope they first of all have a great Sherlock Holmes ride, you know, because there's a really neat mystery at the middle of it, you know. But again, I hope it's that they come away with feeling like they've learned just another aspect of Sherlock Holmes. I mean, he is such a rich character, and it feels that each generation of movies, television shows, they reveal just this little extra bit, and I hope we just add to the whole picture.